Grounding or earthing is the process of connecting physically with nature, such as standing on grass or sand, or going to the beach and getting into the water or a river, or even if you don't have anywhere in nature, if you're standing on concrete itself, which is connected to the sand, the soil, that is still grounding. So people weren't born with shoes on. Shoes are a human invention, probably initially in places where it's freezing cold or boiling hot. Thousands of years ago, they put skins or something on their feet during certain times of the year. But the rest of the time, if you look at indigenous or native people, they walk around bare feet whenever they can. This is to discharge certain, I can't remember if it's positive or negative. You have to look up grounding and earthing. I looked at this years ago. But some of these charges build up in the body and need to be earthed, just like we earth our house in case it gets hit by a lightning strike, so the electricity can pass through into the earth. The body needs to be earthed regularly, ideally daily or constantly. Shoes are also not designed to work properly with the skeleton, with the structure and the muscles. Fair enough if you're doing a 100-meter sprint or have to do high jump or something, but just normally our feet are already in the right position and structure for most of us to support the body and walk properly. And as soon as you jack it up at the back, everything, all the angles are out, and this is going to cause problems in the long term as well. But besides that, back to grounding, as you build up emotion in the body as well, through due to stress, which we're all going through, more stress than probably ever, besides people that were in world wars and so on. We need to release this energy constantly, or it will build up. And as I've said in some of my other videos, watch my videos number 1, 2, and 3 first, because that explains energy, and then everything else, all the others, make sense. We need to discharge these emotions, grief, sorrow. If you're feeling any hate, if you're feeling depression, look up the frequency, the scale of emotions, and look at all the lower ones. These we need to discharge. We should feel them when things happen. We need to feel these emotions. It's part of the human experience. But we're not meant to hold on to them for long periods or for our whole lives, as I find most people do hold on to certain childhood emotions, which are energies, powerful energies that will just eat away at you and manifest into disease and mental disorders eventually if we don't keep releasing them. This is part of shadow work. I did another video recently introducing you to shadow work. So every day, go and stand on some grass, even if it has to be in your backyard. The more immersed in nature, the better. Even if you sit on a park bench, take your shoes off, sit down. If there's only concrete, put your feet on the concrete. When you get to the park, take your shoes off, walk across the park. Anytime you can walk outdoors, bare feet, do it bare feet. Hold your thongs in your hand. Hold your shoes in your hand, even if it has to be on a footpath. Just walk and discharge. You can also get earthing mats. So when you're working on your computer, there's a lot of energy which is a type of radiation going through your body. And if you can discharge this while you're sitting or standing, do that. And you can I've got a bed underlay which connects into the power point and the earthing point, so discharges energy that way. And a friend showed me she had a voltmeter, and she put it on one of the settings, which I think was voltage, told me to hold the terminal, and it registered my voltage. And she said, sit on this bed. So I sat on the bed holding on to the terminals, and the voltage reading dropped significantly. I was already using the earthing mat before that, but I just had a feeling that it would help. But she has actually shown me it registered on a device now. with microwaves. Again, I saw a video from Dr. Eric Berg. He used some form of multimeter, turned his microwave on, and even 3 meters away from the microwave, it was picking up radiation. Now, all forms of energy are radiation, whether it's a good form, bad form. Regardless, it shouldn't be going through your body, shouldn't be running through your body, because our body is electromagnetic. It's got its own energy field. Everything in it is energy, and all forms of energy will affect you because they're affecting you, your energy field, and you are energy. You can also get various types of plugins. So I've got one here called, just going to have a look at it, Geo Cleanse, made by an electrical engineer in Australia. It plugs into the wall, which then it connects to the circuitry through all your walls and through your house and the wiring, and helps reduce the radiation or EMF. There's a whole list on his website of what it reduces. So I've met with this guy personally. I didn't realise he was an electrical engineer. He was at an expo in Perth. Also, to my surprise, found that he was highly intuitive, and without ever meeting me before or coming to my house, he told me certain areas. He said, my work, the energy field at my work, and that whole area around my work was, he called it a death zone. Just the energy is really bad there. And he said, do you have a 5D or back then it was, I don't think it was 5D as yet, but a telecommunications mobile phone cell tower near your work? And we have a massive one right across the road. And he also picked up something at my house as well, which it turned out to be correct. He said someone had died next door to my house, and it was a traumatic death, and the person's residual energy, I can't remember the name, something like ectoplasm, something like out of Ghostbusters. Ectoplasm was still there. It was a very traumatized, negative energy field near my house again. And it was some years later, I was asking around neighbours, and a lady across the road's 95 years old, and she asked a few other people, and apparently many years ago there was a house fire there and a girl died. So that could be it. But anyway, I got some friends, Reiki masters, to come around, and they did their thing, and hopefully it's gone. I can't tell, but they believe so. Anyway, get into grounding or earthing. Look it up on YouTube. Look at the science behind it. Look at the imaging of people that have been taken of people before and after earthing, and look at the diseases in the body, aches, pains, and arthritis in these people that have reduced or disappeared over time after releasing this build-up of energy in the body. Many people, even not having learnt about earthing or grounding, just intuitively, they just go to the beach or go fishing or go camping. So these people, their inner higher self or soul self is already guiding them in the right direction to discharge, and they know it's time every so often to go out into nature. So when you do go stand on the grass, the earthing or grounding process will begin. Energy will flow into the earth and be dissipated or converted by the earth itself, which has its own huge energetic field. If you can add some visualization and breathing to it, that can really help, because everything is not one thing that happens without there being an intention. So you going to do earthing is an intention to do it for a particular purpose anyway. But if you go there and you visualize, however you wish to visualize, you might visualize electricity coming down from the sun through your body, then into the earth, discharging into the earth. Any sort of visualization, and even breathing with it, because you release energy through the breath, which we've learned through martial arts and yoga. So breathe it through. So develop your own visualization as you do it. Now, if you don't have time to do that with a friend or whatever, then just you going there in itself is an intention, but you can strengthen the intention. anytime you got to do something like eat or go to work, or even when a flower grows, there is an intention from some force for that to happen in advance. So if you want to create anything in your life, good or bad, you just hold that intention. So if you're constantly holding negative intentions, and I'm not good at this, and I don't have money, and I didn't have a good education, that's the energy, the intention you're giving out. And all the universe does is reflect back. It doesn't make decisions. It doesn't take sides. It just reflects back what you give it. If you give out a different intention, even if you don't actually feel it at the time, that you're going to be successful at this, that, and the other, or you're going to move into this sort of employment, or you want to have a family, and you hold that intention regularly and start to feel it, start to breathe with it, visualize it, then that will start forming in the energy field outside of the visible spectrum and eventually manifest into the physical. Okay, so your intention is always important, and it will always reflect back to you eventually what you put out.